Recording in progress.
Hello and welcome back to the Peak Endurance Podcast with your hostess with the mostest, Isabel Tate.
And your hostess with the leastest, Ron Tate.
Oh, you're so self-deprecating, Ron, but
I'm
we
not-
all know secretly that you're incredibly vain
I am. I'm always
and always bragging about your
I
accomplishments.
spend hours in front of the mirror doing my hair.
You do. You do. Brushing your eyebrow hair.
That doesn't work anyway.
No.
Just curl straight back.
Yes. Brushing all my hair that's
Yeah, that's
scattered
what I
across the
do.
bathroom
Yeah.
away.
I say brushing my hair, but more it's vacuuming up your hair.
Well, should we tell the story of the shower?
It's almost too horrifying.
Oh,
but
it
don't
is.
do
It was like a horror story. Oh, go on. We have
Well,
to tell it now. Everyone's like,
yeah, we do.
it's not Rudy
No.
people.
Isabel's hair
Gets everywhere.
It gets everywhere, absolutely everywhere. I constantly find it.
And copious amounts fall out. You'd think I'd be bald.
I know.
No.
It amazes me that you're not. You're
I am
don't know
so
where it
far
comes
from bald. It gives me headaches. It's so heavy.
And the shower was getting a bit blocked up. There was, the water wasn't draining away properly. So I got out the plunger and plunged away, and took a while. I finally got some
Traction.
some traction, and I couldn't believe what came up. First of all, like I got a little bit of a small clump of hair, which I managed to get hold of, and I was pulling and it just kept on coming. And before I knew it, I had like a softball size clump of hair in my hand.
It's this huge rat, just a big hair rat. It was like a rat. It was literally the size of a rat.
It was massive. And I was
and
like,
he tried to give it to me to put in the bin, and I'm screaming, going, I'm not touching that.
Even though it's your hair.
I don't care, it was slimy.
Oh yeah, it wasn't pretty.
You'd already touched it. I was out of the shower, obviously.
It was pretty
horrific. That was gross. But hey, the water flowed.
That's right. It certainly got rid of that blockage in
the perils of living with a woman with long, thick hair.
Curly hair too.
Yes. Well, I think, well, I don't know. Just I have very thick hair.
Yeah.
So anyway, enough about that. I don't know how I thought of that. So here we are.
What have we been doing?
Running
as per usual.
What else do we freaking do? People are like, oh, how's things going? Well,
I
run, I eat, I work.
Yeah.
Sleep. Run, eat, work. Sleep, run.
Yeah.
You'd think it'd be boring, and you'd be right. No, you'd think it'd be boring, but it's our life.
It is. And we do mix it up by running, in different spots. We try every now and then, because we are lucky that we live very close to the Dandenongs, which have quite extensive trail network. But it does get boring after a while.
Boring as batshit.
We do it pretty much every weekend.
And I've been mountain biking there for years. Before I was a runner, I mountain biked there for 10, 15 years, and I've been running there for 15 years. It's like,
So we do like to mix up and go a little further afield, which we actually did this last weekend. We went to Healesville and ran
Maroondah Dam.
Yeah. We parked at the Maroondah Dam. We didn't run at the Maroondah Dam because we ran quite a ways past the Maroondah Dam.
Yes, but we went along the park run course to head up to the top. And as we were running along the park run course, we met this gentleman, amazing man. He'd because we were there and we're like, we could see the cones were all light, and we got there just after it became light, because we didn't want to get there in the dark. But whoever had set it up, they'd been setting it up in the bloody dark.
That's right.
And then we got to the end of the canal kind of thing. I don't know
which is basically the turnaround point for the park run.
And there's this guy sitting there in his pink high-vis jacket, and I said to Ron as we were running up to him, I said, I want to stop and talk to him and ask if he set it all up and did everything. We got chatting to him. He was 81 next month.
Yeah, turning 81.
He has volunteered at 49 park runs.
Of the 53 or 4 that they've done. So pretty much all of them, apart from a couple.
And he's due for hip surgery, but he does over 100,000 steps a week.
At 81. That's amazing.
Oh, he I mean, like, honestly, and he was like, you know how old people tend to sometimes have older people tend to sometimes have, you know, like a shaky voice or whatever,
Yeah.
because it actually your voice box does age, right? So
Yeah.
it's actually normal. But holy moly, if you'd listened to him, you wouldn't know he was old.
No.
If you saw him, I thought, you know, late 60s.
Yeah, that's right.
You know,
Yeah.
like you could tell he was older, but he
Yeah.
definitely did not look 80.
No, he
Not
didn't.
frail by any
No.
sense of the imagination.
No.
I am going to do a post about him. So look out. I've been meaning to since bloody last week, but you know what it's like. I'll do it tomorrow, which means nothing to everybody listening. But look at Peak Endurance Coaching, and you'll see him there in his pink high-vis jacket. Just an amazing, amazing man.
Yeah. And just getting out,
And his
stuff.
wife has passed, so he's obviously on his own. And but he's up in the dark helping with park run. Like, it's people like this that keeps the sport going.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the people of that park run really appreciate
Yeah.
him and love him and whatnot. But we've just really got to appreciate, because we can't do these sports without these people.
That's right. And that's why, I certainly make it a point when we're doing races, we don't really do park run so much, but
because it's too early.
Yeah, that's right.
Hey, it's fun. It's uncivilized on the weekend.
But certainly at races, I always make it a point to thank all the people that come out to help, because it's not a paid role.
No, and we've done lots of volunteering. We know how many hours it is, how exhausting it is, how it cuts into your own running time.
Yep, it's very important to thank those people, because without them, we couldn't do what we do.
No, we wouldn't have a sport.
No.
Because if we had to pay all those people, we couldn't afford to enter any of the races.
No, that's right.
My golly, it would be even more expensive.
Yeah. And quite often they're, runners themselves who can't do the event for...
Maybe they're injured.
Yeah.
When I get injured, but I haven't been injured in many years, I would always do more volunteering.
Yeah. So, very important to give them a thanks as you run past, or as they help you out getting your drink at the aid station, all that sort of stuff.
And anyway, I was just amazed, and I asked him if I could take a photo or two of him so that I could post about what an awesome person he was. And he said yes, and I haven't posted, but I will. Yeah. So, and if you do, we forgot to get his name, but if you do see the post and you know his name, please enlighten me so I can tag him in the post or whatever. Anyway, so we went up, and of course, Maroondah, it's a climb all the way up to the top, a decent climb, about 1,400 meters climb to get to the top. Or 1,200 to get to the beginning of the...
No. It's 1,000 meters to the top. It was like
to the very tippy top.
To the very top. It was
of course, because we only did it.
It was like 1,013 meters or something like that at the very top.
And there's like this 1.8K bit. That's off that's off the main fire road. Yeah. And that's more technical, single tracky and steep. And we did that 4 times. And the thing is, we'd planned to do it 4 times, and then bloody Ron on the way out went, oh, if we do 3, I'll be happy with that, which of course really in my mind like a brain worm. And it was niggling away all that, 3, I could just do 3 and it'll be okay, And
you're welcome.
Yeah, thanks so much. But I ended up going, no, we had decided to do 4, and I'm not going to cut it short just because you put that mind worm in my head. So we did 4, which meant we ended up with
2,000. I had 2,300.
And I had 400 meters. Because my watch always undercalculates. I got undercalculated on distance, undercalculated on climbing.
I ran... I think I ran about 800 meters further than you, and I climbed about 100 meters more than you.
Bloody bullshit. Even though we know I run further.
We did the exact same.
Yeah, we did the exact same.
Did it side by side.
And honestly, it happens every flipping time, and that's why I always correct distance when we get home. But and it was, I ran down the single track the first time, and I felt like, I've lost my single track legs. But I got progressively faster and faster. It was
and even on the uphills, you got progressively faster
and faster without even particularly trying. But that is my forte. Yeah. And like I said to Ron, it's not even something I particularly love per se. I mean, I find it bloody hard work, but it's just something I'm actually good at, is climbing those hills fast, and as I get more tired, getting almost a bit better at it.
Yeah. And I got slower and slower. So for the last one, the elastic band held on for about half of it, and then it snapped, and Isabel just
on the second last one, I'm chasing this lyrebird up the hill, talking to Ron. Oh, look at this lyrebird. And I turn around and there's nobody there. I'm like, oh, okay, I'll just chase the lyrebird as it wiggled up the trail in front of me.
The lyrebirds were going off.
Oh my God, it was amazing.
They were in fine form.
So loud, and it was so beautiful, and it was really foggy, and then the sun started to come through. I put some of the photos in my stories, so you might have missed that, people. But oh my God, just so beautiful up there, and just a different place to the bloody Dandies.
Yeah.
No people, not that there's anything wrong with people, but you know, sometimes it's nice to not feel like you're in suburbia still.
That's right. Other than the fella at Parkrun, we didn't see another single person until we were just about we were at the top on our
we saw that family.
Our last one in the
we saw this family. They were rugged up like they're in the snow, and I'm wearing a crop top t-shirt and
he's wearing shorts and t-shirt, yeah,
and they're all rugged up like they're in the snow, and we're like but anyway, and so it's just, if you haven't run there, go. It's like brilliant.
It's not far. I mean, I guess it is for people who don't live on this side of the city, but for us, it was a half-hour drive, and it's a completely different area. So,
lived in Canada. Every weekend, we would regularly drive minimum an hour and a half to do our long runs. Like that's just what we did, you know. And I became used to it over there. We're just spoiled here.
Yeah.
So really, you know. Anyway.
Yeah, I guess for those people that don't live as close to the Dandenongs as we do, a half-hour drive to get to the trails is probably normal. Yeah.
We're just sometimes lazy, and we just go, oh, bugger it, we'll just run there.
Yeah.
And it is much more time efficient, but by God, it gets boring when you know every trail like the back of your hand. Oh my word, it's boring. So, but anyway,
yes.
Yeah. So that's that. Any other updates?
The Macca's Run.
Indeed. We have now 309 subscribers.
Oh, the Macca's
We're just
Run
like smashing it.
Yep.
I mean, we were watching a Jeff Pelletier video the other day, and they had a little celebration when they got to 100,000 YouTube subscribers. And I'm like, oh, we got a bit of work today. So anyway, and
but I noticed he didn't do a Macca's Run when he got to 100.
No, he didn't. He just cracked a bottle of champagne. Yeah. It was probably some really expensive champagne because he can afford it because he's got 100,000 YouTube subscribers. And my son
he was also running in
somewhere exotic.
Was it Peru?
Peru,
Peru, I think he was running for his YouTube channel. So I guess it has its benefits.
Oh, bloody hell. I want to do that. Yeah. But, you know, I'll be 80 like the bloody parkrun guy by the time we get to 100,000. The rate the rate we're going. Mind you, he actually puts out content.
Yeah, true. There is that.
And as I have learned, you know, like he uses the Insta 360. As I pontificated on last time, it was really hard. Anyway, my son's helped me figure out how to get it all onto the computer and, you know, get it all sorted so I can start editing. Now I've got to actually find time to do all that sort of stuff. So we've figured it out, and we're just going to watch more videos on fine-tuning the filming to make sure it looks really good, and so that I know where exactly to focus when Ron's barfing up a cheeseburger. And you know, we did put a little post out, and that was actually recorded when we were at Maroondah Dam when we just finished the run. And speaking of, it was 34 Ks, people. Remember when I was struggling to get over 25, so we did 30. Yeah. And since I've done that 30K run, it just doesn't feel, and everything feels better. Anyway, for every extra 20, so from 300, every extra 20 subscribers we get, we're going to add a milkshake.
I know, and that's I think scarier than the cheeseburgers, because nothing will make you throw up faster than a thick shake.
And they're such hard work to drink if they're cold, you know, and the weather's going to be cold, so they're not going to melt quickly.
No.
So, you know, get your friends, your aunts, your uncles, your mum, your dad, your dog to subscribe. So
if you want to see us throwing up milkshakes, and get on and subscribe.
Yeah, so we're at 309. We've only got 11 more, but that's only one milkshake each, We're doing 8 cheeseburgers, so, we're going to need a fair few. And remember, to get to we want to get to 400 anyway, because we've got to do the beer marathon.
That's right. That's,
I'm guessing that'll be once I get back from Canada. So while I'm in Canada, I'm going to have to up my beer drinking game because they are more of a beer drinking culture. Even more than here. Even more than here.
Yeah.
Like when I was living in Canada that year, I rarely drank wine. I'd drink it. I know this sounds sad, but when I was on my own, if I was at home on my own, which is nearly every night. But if I was out with friends, even after work, people wouldn't go for a coffee after work. They'd go for a beer. So unless I was home alone drinking my depression away, I was out with people drinking beer. So so beer is much, much more.
So you come back from there, an expert.
Carrying an extra barrel. No, I probably won't drink that much because my daughter doesn't really drink, and I'll be hanging out mostly with her, I hope. Anyway, who knows? She has asked for a photo of the chocolate aisle, so she knows what to order from me. Oh, because the chocolates in Canada are not the same. Right. They're not. She's a Cadbury's lover like you, and it's not the same. It's not the same.
I'm surprised she doesn't remember the chocolate aisle.
Well,
if all the chocolate wrappers we found in her room when she moved out is anything to go by, I think she was well versed on the chocolate aisle.
There are a lot more flavors these days, and I don't know. Good point. But anyway, she must have forgotten. She's Anyway, so what we're talking about this week is returning from sickness and or injury, mainly sickness.
Yep, it is the season.
Is the season to be sick. And we have noticed, certainly in Melbourne and generally most of Australia, everyone's sick all the freaking time at the moment. Now, I know people saying it's the cloud seeding, but you never know what it could be.
The cloud seeding.
Right. Don't laugh. They're freaking doing it. They've actually admitted it.
I know, but how is that causing illness?
Because they're saying they're spraying stuff up there to make people sick.
Okay. Anyway.
Ron's not a conspiracy theorist. That's my tinfoil hat.
Yes.
Anyway, so basically lots of people are getting sick and lots of people are having time off, and a lot of these things are hanging around, and there's even a lot of pneumonia going around. I've forgotten which one it is. I don't know. I read it somewhere and I've forgotten promptly. Anyway, lots of shit going around. People are sick and it's hanging on. Like even, how I've had that nausea, it's gone away and it's kind of come back again a bit. So I don't reckon it's fully gone. So anyway, what you need to know if you're sick, basically, if it's in your chest, you stop running. And there's no point in being a hero. I remember once, many moons ago, when I was stupid, and I was a mountain biker, and I was, cycling, and I got a bit of a chesty cough. But being the tough soldier that I was, I kept going and kept going and kept going. And I ended up with bronchitis, borderline pneumonia, and on an asthma puffer, antibiotics and everything, because I just kept pushing myself. And then I ended up having to have, guess what? Longer off.
Yeah.
Right? So if it's in your chest, stop. You're not doing yourself any favors. You're actually going backwards. Have you ever trained with a chesty cough?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And
you meant to go, no, because I'm smart.
No,
Didn't you get the memo?
I mean, we say training, but ideally, if you've got a chesty cough, you're not working hard. You're barely.
You're feeling like a bag of shit.
That's right. So even if you are trying to train, it's not optimal training. It's poor training, and you're not getting the best out of yourself. And as Isabel says, it just makes it last longer.
Makes it last longer. You're not getting any benefits. And I have exercise-induced asthma, right? And I reckon it was that that started that ball rolling, basically. Next, if you have a head cold, you can run if you feel okay to run, but only easy, no quality sessions. Okay? Because sometimes, I don't know about you, but I have found that sometimes, not every time, it depends on how I'm feeling, but sometimes if I've got a bit of a head cold, it actually makes me feel better if I go for a run, right? Because getting out in the fresh air, being able to fully empty your nose.
Yes, that's right. You can't, or it's it's uncouth to
It's
blow snot. It's
socially
not like
frowned
it's
upon.
when you're not running.
Yeah.
It's great when you're running. So
yeah, and you can really flush out the nasal passages when you're running, and that can actually really, really help. As long as once you get back to the house, you rug up. You know, you quickly have a hot shower, get in on some warm clothes, get some warm food in your belly. So no sitting around, you know, checking out your Strava details, right?
Yeah.
Get straight home, rug up, shower, clothes, food, because you have to eat, right? Because and a lot of people also, when they're sick and they think, oh, well, I'm not training, I'm going to stop eating. You actually need to fuel yourself to recover. So if you're running with a cold, not only are you fueling yourself to recover, you've got to recover from the run and recover from the cold. So whatever you do not cut back on food. Your body needs nutrition to repair itself and to just generally recover. So I know the temptation is, especially if you've reduced mileage, I better reduce my nutrition. No, please, for the love of God, continue eating good, healthy foods and not starving yourself because you got to eat.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it is a hassle, or it's, you lose your appetite when you're not feeling well.
You do a bit.
And so you may not feel like eating. It's not hard. It's not easy. But even if you have smaller amounts regularly, and
maybe things like protein powders and those sort of things, really highly nutritious food, as opposed to, snacking on junk on the couch.
Yeah. Comfort food.
Yeah, comfort food, exactly. Now, also, if you have had to take time off training, for every day that you have had off training, so if you've taken 7 days off, that means I almost held up 6 fingers. 7 days of easy training without quality sessions.
I can't believe you get that number wrong when you were actually on television doing it.
Oh, yeah, I was on the Channel 7 ad when I was a kid coming down the slide, and we came down the slide and we did that. 7.
Those of you of a certain age who remember that ad on the television for Channel 7 in Australia.
Yeah, I was only on one of the ads. There was plenty of them, but yeah.
Yeah, Isabel was one of those
We were
people.
playing in a park, me and my friends, in near the church, because if those of you don't know, I was brought up in the Church of Scientology, and we were on a break from the courses we were doing, and we were playing in the park. In where was it? Glenferrie, somewhere. I don't know.
Well, the church. Oh, was it?
Old,
okay.
Anyway,
so it wasn't the one in like Richmond in Cremorne that you told me about when we were running there the other week.
Cremorne.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know where's Cremorne.
Well, that's Richmond,
I don't know. Anyway,
Richmond.
Wherever it was. No, it was near Oakley or something like that.
Oh, okay. Right.
Or Carnegie, I should say, near Carnegie. Carnegie for the poor people. You don't know what Carnegie is. And we did and they were, I don't know, the crew just happened to come upon me, my sister, and a friend. And they asked us, no permission from parents. Fuck that shit. Who needs that? It was the 70s. It was a free-for-all. And
random kids, filming random kids.
And there was like a spiral slide. So we clumped together, the three of us, and came down as 3. And at the bottom, we all had to go 7. With big grins on our faces. So anyway, that was my moment of fame. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, 7 days. So, and if you're off training for 3 days, 3 days easy running. If you're off for 2 weeks, well, then that means 2 weeks of easy running. And it's the same with an injury. If you've been off for 2 weeks with a niggle, 2 weeks of easy training, right?
Yeah.
And that's just the way it is, because you have to respect. Consistency strengthens your tendons and ligaments and muscles, right? So if you're not doing that, they weaken. So if you go straight back, bang, into hard running, something's going to snap.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be pretty, and it's not going to be fun, and it'll mean more time of training. So you've got to ease the body back in, not only for that reason, but also you don't want to get sick again. High intensity training reduces your immune system.
Yeah.
All training does to a certain extent. That's why you've got to keep it easy. And, don't go, oh, I'll keep it easy. I'll keep it to my normal pace of my easy runs. No, you might not be able to do your normal pace of an easy run. It might be slower. You've got to go by feel. You've got to stop being married to the watch and doing what the watch tells you. You've got to run by feel, because if you're just coming off a cold and you're still a bit boogery and goobly, you won't be able to run as easily. You might not be able to breathe quite as easily. So, take it easy. It doesn't matter what people on Strava think of you. To be honest, people flick through that, liking it. They're not really looking at your pace. And they could give a rat's ass. They look at it. Oh, no, look at their pace. Oh, my God. Like, really, who cares?
That's right. And if anyone's had a chesty cough before, they know, it's not like you get to day 7 and it's gone.
Exactly.
It takes a while to go. So you have to, part of, coming back nice and easily is to give it that chance to the last bit to go,
rather than give it the chance to settle in for the long haul.
That's right.
You don't want to be sick for the long haul. So easy does it, crew. And your body will thank you by repairing itself.
Yep.
And there's nothing wrong with being out in the cold. It's good for you. My mother used to put us in the pram in Scotland. Like when I was a baby, I was in the pram in Scotland. She'd wrap me up, put me out in the cold for my nap. So it was probably like 0 degrees, and I'd be out on the porch having my nap because the cold air strengthened my lungs, Ron.
Oh, clearly it did, but I'm not sure of the.
Well, that was the parenting philosophy, and I'm not saying it's right, but I'm not saying it's wrong either. No, we're too coddled and kept in these warm, sanitized environments. Bloody hell!
Do go out into the
cold. It's old. God. Yeah. So I mean, anyway, do look after yourselves, but ease back into it. And I do think exercise can help. Once you're over the worst of it, it can actually help you get better.
It gets your blood flowing. It gets your immune system and all your systems, beating a little bit faster and, exercising those systems. So, it has to help. It's got to help a lot more than sitting on the couch and waiting for it to pass.
Yeah, like waiting.
Yeah.
But I mean, wait for the worst of it to be over. And if you've had a fever, like if you've had a fever the night before, but in the morning you wake up, you're feeling better because, of course, you've slept off the fever. Don't train.
Yeah.
Like seriously, wait another day at least. You do not train the day after a fever because a fever is quite debilitating on the body.
Yeah.
And if you think you've got a fever at all, don't train. And honestly, people, buy a thermometer. They're a dime a dozen.
Yeah.
Like they don't cost a lot. Buy a thermometer. I remember, we used to have the mercury thermometers.
Yeah.
And I used to, not want to go to school. So I used to heat it up on the lamp. But one time it exploded on the bed. And of course, I knew I'd get in trouble. So I'm trying to grab the mercury. And then it was fun. So I'm sitting there playing with the mercury on my bed. And then I just went, oh, well, whatever.
Oh, I guess I'll have to go to school.
I'll just sleep with the mercury for the next year or so, because that's probably how often my mum cleans sheets. But mercury is like really bad. You're not meant to play with it. But yeah, I used to do that all the time, not to go to school because I just couldn't be fucked. It was boring. It was too boring for me. Sure when I was in primary school, I was a little bit, my parents had done a lot of, my dad had, taught me a lot at home. And so I found school boring. And then high school, I just hated. So I just never wanted to go to school. And so that's why I became a teacher.
Because why wouldn't you?
I know, right? It was funny. One of the kids in the class said the other day, that was the naughty kid I was telling you about.
Yeah.
He goes, what did you want to be when you were younger? He goes, did you always want to be a teacher? I said, to be honest, I remember in primary school, they asked me, did you want to be a teacher? And I said, the last thing I want to do is be a teacher. And they had a bit of a laugh, the kids. And I said, oh, but isn't it funny? You can change your mind. Teaching's fine. I do actually quite enjoy it when I don't hate it.
Yeah.
I just hate being organised early in the morning. Yeah. And if you are sick, if you're really sick, stay away from work as well. Don't pass it around. There's nothing more frustrating. People go to work, pass it around, give it to Ron, and then I get sick.
That's right. That's what happens.
Do you know what I mean? But that's what happens.
Yeah.
Like if you're sick, okay, I get that you might have run out of sick days, but, maybe get a medical certificate. You can go to the chemist and get one these days. It costs $20 or something, but whatever. Cheaper than going to the bloody doctor.
Yeah.
think of other people at work. Just dosing up on drugs isn't to hide it, isn't really the right thing to do, because you're still passing on your germs. And don't go to the gym and cough and splutter all over the equipment and pass it around. Gross and unfair. So, and I'm not just talking about COVID-y sort of stuff. So I've always believed this.
That seems to be nowadays, it's been so drummed into us that COVID is the be-all and end-all of illness that we forget that other things.
Yeah. Everything's, well, it's not COVID. I can do whatever I want. Rat's ass. The flu is bloody terrible.
That's right. You should treat it the same way. If you're not
basically, they're the same.
Well, yeah, but if you're not if you test and it's not COVID, it doesn't mean you're not sick. And it doesn't mean you're not going to pass it on.
Why are you testing to start with? Like, anywho, just readjust my tinfoil hat. Yeah, exactly. Oh, don't you test and go, well, it's not COVID, I'm good to go. No, you're not. You're bloody sick.
Yeah.
Keep you and your germs at home.
That's right.
Where they belong.
Yeah.
Because honestly, be mindful of other people. We all have goals and plans and things that we want to do. We don't want that to be stopped. Although I'm seeing these government frickin' ads going, stay at home if you've got the flu. I mean, soon they're going to be locking us down for flu. Ron's rolling his eyes. They're doing it. I'm just saying. You just wait. Anyway.
Let's move on.
Must we? I want to rant about it just a bit longer. Anyway, so look after yourselves. And basically, we sort of talked about coming back from injury, but this was mainly meant to be about a cold and flu.
Yeah.
So, obviously, if you're injured, have a think. If it's 0 to 3, the pain level, you can run through it. I've also heard 0 to 4, but for someone like me with a higher pain threshold, that potentially means I could run with, doing some damage, which I have done with the nerve in my leg. But you've got to be sensible. Like, I was chatting to someone on Instagram because they said they couldn't do a race, and he described all his injuries he's had, and he said it was because he tore his calf and he kept going, and 3 years later, he's still dealing with the consequences of all the other injuries that happened from running with a torn calf. He wrecked his knee, did ligaments, and he said the moral of the story is don't be a hero.
Yeah.
And it's true. It's no one remembers you being this awesome hero running through all that pain. No, all you will remember is not being able to train for 1, 2, 3 years.
Yeah.
Okay. Or having horrible training for that time. It's nothing worse than constantly running in pain. It's demotivating. It just ruins you.
It is. It's after a while.
Mentally, I'm talking, not just physically.
After a while, mentally, it's hard to just keep lifting yourself up mentally, knowing how much it's going to hurt.
Also, you don't lose your fitness. You're better off going, right, I'm going to pick up a different sport for a minute, do a bit of mountain biking, do, rowing, whatever it is, swimming. As lame-o as swimming is, Ron, right?
I love swimming.
Do something else. If it's under 3, the pain, on a scale of up to 10, where 10 is absolute agony. And also, if it changes your gait, don't do it, because that's what causes the other injuries.
That's right. That's when you blow out a knee.
Yeah. Yeah. So look after your bodies. You've got one. All right. And treat it like the temple that it is.
That's right. You took the words right out of my mouth.
And we treated our bodies like a temple when we went to the all-you-can-eat Japanese on Sunday
night. That's right. Oh, my tummy was my temple.
I kept ordering things and having a tiny little bite just to taste it and going, there, Ron, you finish it.
I was under a lot of pressure because there was a big sign on the wall saying, don't waste the food or we'll charge you more,
Because obviously people were doing what I do, just having a taste and leaving it. And they're going, if you leave more than 200 grams...
So I was under a lot of pressure because Isabel was ordering up and
you gave me the green light.
And I was finishing.
Oh God! Or you can eat Japanese soup.
It was so good.
It was good value. What was it? $38 each.
Yeah, $38 each, and it was a full menu that you could choose from. It wasn't like
it wasn't a restricted menu.
Yeah, no, it was the full menu.
Oh my God! And not. How sometimes you go to those sort of things and it's crap food.
Yeah.
It was not crap food.
No, it wasn't.
It was really, really good. And it was pretty cool. They had like an iPad on the table and you just, because it used to be these poor waiters were scurrying around like madmen and women and you'd be like, here, I need to order 15 more things, But now you could just put it on the iPad and send.
That's right.
Oh my God, it was so easy.
That's right. And it came out so quickly too.
Oh.
So that were really, I mean, there was like 2 or 3 waitresses or waiters.
Two or three waitresses and a waiter.
Yeah.
And they were
they were hustling.
They were hustling. Those poor people feeding us overfed. Oh my God, the amount we ate.
We normally on a Sunday, because Sunday's our treat night, and we'll always finish with the dessert of some kind, whether it's ice cream I'm not or having something dessert. Like that. We didn't need dessert.
Ron said he could eat it.
I could have had it. I didn't need it.
But no, and I said, no, that's just being piggy. And Ron said, I'm okay with that. Yeah. And I went, well, I'm not, because my stomach hurts, and I ate 3/4 of what you ate or less. And my stomach hurt. Yeah. So but it was delicious. Awesome. It was awesome.
Delicious and well worth.
Oh yeah.
You know, we certainly got our money's worth.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
For sure.
Oh yeah, because like we ate breakfast when we got home from our run, and that was it.
That was it. No more food until we got there.
No, that's it.
So we rolled in going, oh, I'd better come out quick, because
we were like, I was just about gnawing on the bloody table mat, you know. And we're like, oh, I better come quick. An hour later, I'm like, I can't eat another thing. I think I'm gonna bath.
Yeah.
So but it was really good. And this Saturday we're off to see Kitty Flanagan.
Yes. Yeah, that's right. So we'll change our treat night to Saturday night.
And we'll go out for dinner then. Yes. See, we don't just run, we do other things. We eat.
We eat. We run and we eat. And we sleep.
Yep. What we're doing, God damn. In bed by 8:30. We're such party animals. Even on a Saturday night, it's really quite sad.
When we get up at 6 o'clock on a Sunday.
Yes. Well, no, it wasn't 6. It was 6:30.
Yeah, it was 6:30 last week.
Yeah, we got up. We set the alarm for 5:30 on the Saturday.
Yeah.
Anywho, enough of that. Anyway, I really hope, or we really hope, you have not been sick. Yeah. But if you are sick, look after your body. It's only I know in the moment it feels like for freaking ever, but it's not. Yeah. Just like with injury, it feels like for freaking ever, and you feel like you'll never be able to run again, because I felt like that before. But it's not.
You've got to play the long game.
You've got to play the long game. If you want to be in the sport forever, if you're sensible and want to be in the sport forever, you have to play the long game and think, not just think of, I've got to get these kilometers in, like honestly, at the detriment to your health and fitness anyway. So think the long game, look after your body, look after yourselves, and you'll be mentally and physically way happier.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And that was that.
That's it.
All righty. Yeah. Well, thanks for joining us. And nobody has given us any ideas on what to talk about. So please do, questions, anything. Even if you just give us a question and we'll add it on at the end. Yeah. We can have question time at the end. If you've got some coaching, questions, training questions, nutrition. I am a sports nutritionist. Mindset, it's the Infinite Potential Sports Mindset Coaching. I am a mindset coach as well. And, so please ask the questions. We will answer them to the best of our abilities. Ron is a coach as well. He's done the training. It's not like he's a coach just because I said, bang, you're a coach.
And if it's required, we'll actually turn that into the podcast.
Yeah, that's right. If it's a question that we can use to do a podcast, then we will. If it's just a very general question, we'll keep it at that. But honestly, please do ask questions. We want to help. We want to answer your questions. We're just guessing what we think might be helpful for you. But if you tell us, then we will know. And please follow, subscribe, rate, review, all those things that all the other influencers say. I don't know what it means. Just do it.
Just do it. Press buttons. Just not the stop button.
Yeah, no. And not the unfollow or unsubscribe. Not that one. No. And follow us on YouTube if you haven't, but I'm sure you have, because you're smart.
You must have.
You're smart enough to listen to this.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of, I did get interviewed for another podcast, the Peak Too Soon podcast. So check that one out too. Another Australian, podcast from South Australia. So kind of Australian. No, really. South Australian. So
Peak Too Soon.
Or is it Canberra? My bad. Yes. I don't know why it's because I was talking to a client who's from South Australia.
Right.
Canberra, my bad. Sorry. Anyway, so sorry, Brent. My apologies. So Canberra, definitely Australian.
Yeah. No, just not the good part. Geographically, it's a good part.
Oh, I love Canberra.
Politically,
I love
maybe
the
not so
running
much.
in Canberra. I used to
Yeah.
do a lot of mountain biking in Canberra too. And I've done a lot of running. Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, follow that one.
Yep.
Even doesn't matter where they're from. They're Australian.
Yeah.
That's where he's from.
Mhm.
And you can check out my interview, or Brent interviewing me, where I get to waffle about me. I feel a bit of a narcissist, but that's all right. Anyway, thanks for joining us. Have a great rest of your week. Look after yourselves during this cold winter in Australia. If you're in the Northern Hemisphere, well, you know, just
Enjoy the heat.
Yeah, that's right. I'll be there soon. All righty. And yes, and if you are in Canada, in Calgary, message me and we can maybe do some sort of podcast there. All righty. Oops, I've got to press stop, not just end everything. All righty. Thanks, everyone.
Okay,
bye.
bye-bye.